to go ahead and start seated. And if you're uncomfortable seated, you have two choices. If you don't like being on the floor, you can take pillows or you can take blankets and you can roll them up and you can sit here and kind of let the tailbone move or hips move a little forward, and that helps the knees go down. Or we have someone practicing from a chair today. So I'll be jumping up back and forth. So you can always, I think my honey bunny doesn't like to start seated. So one of the ways you can do it is just have a chair handy. You can always start seated in a chair. And when we start with turning inward, I invite you to move back in the chair so that you feel the support of the chair. As we begin to move into some poses, you're going to want to move forward in your chair. So about halfway up so that you can move. If you're back here, you can't move as much. You're kind of stuck. But for meditation, turning inward, I invite everybody to find what feels best for them. It's a seated pose on the floor or in a chair. And just close your eyes for a moment if you're comfortable. And just become aware of what parts of the body are connected to whatever you're doing right now, whether it be on the floor or in a chair. You should feel some connection to the ground. The chair is going to be the chair seat. And just kind of take a notice, maybe there's still some thoughts going through the brain. And one of the things we learn in yoga is not to attach to it. We don't fight it. We just notice it and just simply bring our awareness to the everyday breath, noticing, focusing perhaps on the nostrils at first and just kind of feeling the inhale and the exhale, that effortless breath. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to talk about diaphragmatic breathing. In most of my classes, and I was just going over that earlier, I teach breathing into the ribs first because that firms up the spine. So just try it right now. Just breathe into the ribs first. And notice the strength in the spine and maybe some space between the vertebrae. And let that go. Your exhale. And the next inhale, we're just going to breathe into the lower abdomen first, like we were blowing up a balloon. You know how that balloon grows bigger and bigger, and then notice the spine. Just take a notice. The spine is kind of loosey-goosey. And if we're doing an inhale and we have to engage the core, there's no more breath left. So that's why I teach breathing in through the ribs first and then the belly, if you're in a position that the belly can expand. But in true old-fashioned yoga, pranayama, it was always into the belly first. So this is changed over time looking at the therapeutic effects of yoga. So if you've been taught to belly breathe first, you're welcome to belly breathe, but I invite you to bring that breath from the belly upwards all the way to the collarbones, because then you'll feel the strengthening of your spine and maybe some space between the vertebrae. Very subtle. It's a connection. And as you're ready to exhale, you just let go completely. Either it's your choice today through an open mouth or through your nose. If it's an open mouth, it might be a soft sigh. If you really need to relax, there's something about the sound of the soft sigh that helps the body really relax. Yes, you can relax exhaling through the nose, nice and slow, drawing in that lower abdomen, whichever way you do it. Drawing in the lower abdomen first, pressing that, and then the ribs come back in. And you find that little pause at the end of the exhale, breathing deeper than normal. And that helps us to kind of move that connective tissue and the muscles around the ribs, and ultimately helps us expand our breath, which is very healthy. Not something we Westerners do on a regular basis unless we're practicing yoga. So lengthening that inhale. Either trying the diaphragmatic breath into the belly first, letting that breath rise up to the collarbones, or the way I predominantly teach in exhaling, you'll still exhale and slowly draw in that lower abdomen to expel all stale air. The other way is to really inhale and spread the ribs first, really strengthening that spine and creating space, and the belly might protrude second. You would still draw in the lower abdomen slowly as you lengthen that exhale. The slower you draw it in, perhaps the longer the exhale. You're trying to balance your inhale, same count, same timing as the exhale. You might have to draw in the lower abdomen a little faster. So one more deeper breath, your choice, whatever feels good. And then I invite you to open your eyes softly and just begin our practice today. So we're starting seating on the floor, and we're going to start whether you're on the floor in a comfortable Sukhasana, cross-legged, crisscross applesauce, or if you're in a chair, you wouldn't cross your legs, you're going to move forward. We're going to start by warming up that spine even more. Inhaling, we're going to keep our hands on our thighs or somewhere so that the elbows can be close to the body. As we inhale, we're pushing that chest forward, the chin forward, and we're creating a little back bend, mostly in the thoracic area, a little bit in the lumbar. And as we exhale, we're going to round, growing the lower abdomen. The shoulders come forward, the hands may slide forward, and we draw in, like I said, that lower abdomen. We're going to move with the breath at our own pace. Inhaling and exhaling, nice and comfortable, but hopefully deeper today than your normal mindless breath. We take it for granted. If you're on the floor, you're doing the same exact thing, but with the legs crossed, or diamond, or one open and one closed. When I'm on the floor, I tend to rock back just beyond the sits bones, just to get a nice stretch in the shoulders. But you can always modify one more time as needed. And then we'll find neutral. We'll open the eyes softly. For those that are sitting on the floor, you might want to recross. Or if you're had enough on the floor, you can always get up in a chair. And we're going to be doing a swaying palm. We can do it with hands on our hip. We're going to lean toward one direction, hands on the floor around the hip level. You can lean from side to side, or you can bring it up and over. And from a chair, you're sitting forward still in your chair, you can do the same thing. You can do just holding on a side and maybe grabbing the bottom of the chair side to side, or grabbing on the bottom and bringing the arm up, only if the shoulders don't hurt. We want this to be nice and comfortable. I invite you to close your eyes and really feel the side body stretch. Being mindful of the side that you're leaning towards, you're compressing, that you're not collapsing and causing more strain on the spine. You have integrity. I talk about that a lot. So maybe one more time, both sides, eyes closed, just feeling the body moving in space. No visual cues. Yes, yes, yes. And then neutral once more. For those of us on the floor, we might want to take our legs out just for a little break. I like to change positions. It's kind of selfish on my part because I do have arthritis and it gets a little tight if I stay in one position too long. And those of us with back problems may also have the same issue. So yes, great way to just kind of move that connective tissue if you want. Get the, just kind of do whatever feels good. Move those shoulders if that feels good. And then we're gonna kind of rock those feet side to side. Good use of the core. Like that, Jaylyn, looks good. So you could also do it if your core is not strong today and you're in the chair. You can do your ankles just by holding onto the chair and doing like this. But I really like this. This is cool. This is really kind of gets into, might even have to keep a straight spine, but lean back a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to be jumping back and forth today, as you can tell. So those of us on the ground, let's go ahead and spread our legs wider. You can have your fingertips pointing to the front. To me, that's awkward, so I point mine to the back, but you can find what works. So just to your own comfort level. If your core is not strong, you'll want to grab onto the bottom of the chair. Looking good, looking good. You can always stop at any time. Please, no pain, all gain. And then for those of us on the floor, you might want to pick them up. I'm going to bend those knees and maybe draw a little circle one way and the other. And then we're going to try a pigeon pose. For those of us on the ground, I like to show a lot of different ways to do pigeon. And some ways work for some and some ways work for others. I'm going to demonstrate from the floor first. I'm going to keep kind of this, and I'm going to bend one knee and place the ankle above the other knee on the thigh. Maybe a little flexing of the foot. I'm going to keep a little integrity in this foot. And I'm still supporting my spine, so I'm not collapsing at the waist. I might need a little more stretch. So I might bring that front foot back a little bit. Want to still keep the sternum lifted. You want to think about those shoulder blades running down the back of the body. So whatever, for some people, this is enough right here. From a chair, it's kind of fun too. Excuse me for getting up and showing my booty to the camera. We do it this way. So if you're at home and you want to keep the piriformis muscle, I keep a nice straight back. I like to lean with my chest so that I'm not collapsing and come forward. For some people, this is enough. So we find our own way of doing it. And enough, let's try this on the other side. The only reason I'm doing this, for some people, this is kind of awkward, but it's kind of fun to try awkward stuff every now and then. So I'm going to flex the foot. I'm going to try to put that front foot on the ground. If not, I can always lift it. If it's just not wanting to go there and that's too uncomfortable, you'll feel more of the piriformis stretch with the foot on the ground or close to the ground. I don't feel it as much here, but you can just play with it. Everybody does it uniquely. For those of us on the ground, we may go higher or not. And if you find, ooh, our teeth are clenching, we're just going to come out of it a little bit more on that front leg. Same we just discussed. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, I think I did that. Okay, we'll try this one. Go forward. And you might find one side is a little tighter than the other, and so we may have to adjust our forwardness in a chair, or we might have to adjust that front leg and straighten it. And one more breath here. And when we're finished, we're going to come on to hands and knees. Now I'll show you how you can do some of these things from the chair. We're going to do like a balancing cat. It's also called bird dog. It goes by a lot of names. If your wrists are not feeling it today, if the fingers don't feel it's too much on the fingers, then just make fists or come down to the ground. So we're going to be doing a balancing cat, and it's not how high you lift the legs. I want to try to keep these hips level, parallel, and then maybe the other hand up. If my shoulder hurts, I can just keep it down. Looking down at the mat or looking out, depending on the neck strength, over that middle finger. If we're trying to do this from the chair, we want to do a little balance pose. I'm going to hold on to one side, take the opposite arm, opposite leg back. So just demonstrating. Whichever side you want, Just feeling the balance. You may have to lift the chest a little bit. If it's too intense, you don't have to bring the leg way up. It's not the point. And remembering to breathe through this. We're going to go from side to side. So we inhale. Typically, we expand. You can point and flex that foot. You've got a long inhale. Exhale down and move to the other side. From a chair, you can go to the back. You can do one side for a while and then go to the other side of the chair. I kind of like to play with my foot. If I'm feeling out of balance, try to drop that hip level. Ooh. So one side may have a little, one side may have a little more challenge than the other. So if we're having a challenge, we just eliminate either the arm or the leg. If the leg's throwing us out of balance, and moving with the breath at your own pace. One more time. Both sides. Balancing cat. When we're finished, we're going to go on to our forearms. And we're going to do a downward dog. We're going to curl those feet up, round the head towards the floor. Maybe you can roll up onto your toes or not, but we're just giving our wrists a break from a chair. We're not going to do it from our forearms because I prefer to do it this way. We're doing a downward dog in the traditional way. So maybe moving those feet back a little bit so you really feel this stretch in the back of the lower legs. I'm just showing from the side. So you're going directly behind your chair. And you take an inhale from the ground. If we're on the ground with the knees on the ground, we exhale up. And as we inhale, we come back down. Moving at your own pace. When you're up, think about those shoulder blades pulling down the back body or kissing the spine. We're moving with the breath. If we're behind a chair, one more time, both sides, we're doing the same thing. Might go like this and then come out of it and in it and out of it and just moving with your own breath. Whatever feels good, feeling that stretch in the backs of the legs. And when you're finished, bring those knees to the floor. We're going to do child's pose for those of us who are on the floor. We might do wide-legged, bring the big toes together. That's sometimes, for me, it's more comfortable just because of the metal in my back. But the traditional way is with the legs straight. So maybe bringing a forehead down to the mat or two fists if the forehead isn't quite there yet. If the glutes, your buttocks are just hanging out in space and that doesn't feel good, take a blankie or pillows and throw them behind those lower legs. It's not really transferable to a chair. The closest thing we can do in a chair to child's pose, which is a resting pose. Y'all rest, and if for those on the floor, you might want to bring the arms around to the feet, palms up, and just let those shoulders relax. If you're from a chair, you might, if it doesn't make you dizzy, you might let the neck go and let the crown of the head go towards the floor and just kind of feel that low back stretch out. If you're having trouble getting the torso supported by those thighs, you can keep your hands here. I don't want you to pull on that low back if it's hurting. I don't want you to get a feel of a forward bend. So child's pose gets into the neck as well as that low back. For those of us on the floor, on your next inhale, we're going to swing those arms around to the front. And we're going to walk those hands over to one side and imagine our hip moving towards the head, which it's not doing, but just kind of imagine, and maybe if it feels good, we can touch a heel, the first heel or the second heel, don't have to go there at all. We'll inhale back to center. We're going to exhale to the other side. From a chair, we're doing a little C, so we could do it standing, back of the chair, or we could sit back down on the back of the chair and just imagine that hip coming this way, maybe just turning our heads, getting a little neck work. Be done any way that feels good. Okay, one more time for those of us on the floor as well as the chair or not. You can always quit early, both sides. We're going to find neutral and table. For those of us on the floor, we're going to flex our toes forward. We're going to walk the hands back. We're going to be in a ball squat, which is one of my favorites. In a ball squat, the tailbone goes down. You can do that from a chair, from the back of the chair if you just want to play with it. It's a nice quad stretch. It kind of stretches out your quads. And then using your fingertips on the floor to bring yourself up, or challenging your balance, your focal point into the mat and rising up. So here what it looks sort of like this behind a chair. I'm off to the side, but you'd be directly behind. And then up. When we get up, it's kind of the top third of our mat. Just kind of roll those shoulders back, maybe one at a time. Let's get the knees involved, perhaps. So I'm not even thinking about it. My knees are kind of going the opposite way as the shoulder. Just keeping it slow and simple. And then we're going to pause in neutral, and we're going to notice where our hands are. And if the hands are not by the side, simplest trick is either roll the shoulders back, that'll get them to your side, or turn the palms to the front, and that brings those hands to our side. So we're going to take, whether we're sitting in a chair, standing behind a chair, we're going to take a nice deep inhale, bring the shoulders up to the ears. Pause the breath. Doesn't mean you're holding everything in, you're just pausing, subtle. And then exhale, and just kind of feel those shoulders relax and let go. And for those of us who are standing, I invite you to bring the arms behind the back. I'm going to do some neck stretches. If you're in a chair, you don't want to be standing, you're going to hold on to the chair, because what we're going to do is going to bring our chin back, whether we're standing or in the chair. I want to make sure the other shoulder doesn't come up. So that's why I was having you hold the opposite arms. And as we exhale, we might drop one ear to one side. And as we inhale, we'll bring it up and keep pulling that chin back. And exhale with the chin back. You'll feel a much better stretch than with the head forward. It's too much weight. Moving from side to side at your own pace, whether you're standing. If you feel dizzy, just stop. And we're getting nice and tall from the crown of the head. The chin is up. And then we're going to release. We're going to take those hands and really give ourselves a little love. We've done this before, back of the neck, maybe even down to the shoulders. Maybe draw a little circle with the nose. And maybe let go of some tension in the neck. Maybe a little snap, crackle, pop. As long as it doesn't hurt, it's all good. And then maybe the other direction, or not. So, giving yourselves a little love, supporting that neck, and drawing a circle. When you're finished, you'll release your hands to your side. I'm going to do some more posture builders and some more shoulder stuff. So, we're going to start with our chin to our chest. Should also following along that neck stretching. And the palms are going to be towards the back. You can do it sitting in your chair. Turn your palms to the back. As you inhale, you open palms to the front. The chin was back. We might look up at the ceiling. And as we exhale, it's palms to the back, chin to chest, lower abdomen in. Inhale. Oh, fill up those ribs with air, spread that, and exhale. So moving with the breath at your own pace. Looks just the same from a chair. As you inhale, think about those shoulder blades coming together to kiss the spine, or you can think of them rolling down the back body. Do this one more time, or not gives you the choice. Nice. Good job. So I want to go ahead and step a little wider and work the inside of the legs. And I'm doing this for my mom. My 88-year-old mom has just now discovered she has arthritis. Her 2 children have had it for years. So, you know, the first time you have an ache and pain that you've never had before, it's like, oh. So she's in physical therapy, and this is one that's really good for kind of firming up those thighs. And the more muscle strength you have supporting this kneecap, the better. She has some other different exercises. I gave her this before she went into physical therapy, and I said, and check with your therapist to make sure that they're okay with you doing that. And she did, and they said, great. So she's still complaining of pain because it gets her attention. Keep reminding her, I understand. I know what it's like. Okay, so we're going to add arms or not. We're going to turn our head one way, throw an arm in front, straighten the legs as we come up. Arms can come all the way up, or they can just come halfway, or they don't have to come up at all. And just keep it really close to our body, depending upon where we are today. I love to play with things. I love to exaggerate things. Must be kind of the artist in me, or the wannabe ballerina. Woo, feeling it? Yes. And we'll release. Turn the toes to the front. Take a little break, stretch it out. Always just stand there and bounce a little bit. Just kind of loosen things up with a hold position, hoping my clock didn't stop. You know how those batteries just go out when you really need them to be working? I don't want to keep you all here forever. Okay, so when we're feeling like we're comfortable, we're going to find Tadasana or mountain pose, either feet underneath our hip bones. And I'll demonstrate from the chair how you might want to do this in just a second. We're going to do archer pose. So I'm going to shift all my weight to one side. And so if you're at a chair, you're going to come over to this far side of the chair. You're going to take your right leg across. For those of us, you might have a little bend in those knees when you cross legs. If you're really imbalanced, come over to a chair. It's always good to do that. Notice which leg's in front. You're going to take the opposite arm out in front, opposite from this leg. If it's the right, you're going to take the left arm. You're going to make that like hitchhiker thumb. You might take, I'm going to do the other one. Take it out, the other arm goes out to the side. We bend at the elbow. It's kind of hard to teach both. And make the mudra, index finger to thumb, and bring it onto our head. And our drishti, we've got our chin pulled back. We're still growing tall. Our drishti is this thumb, and we might exhale and go a little bit to the side. If you feel like you're losing balance, you could hold on and not even do that mudra and just do that nice little twist. We exhale back and we inhale up. Last one or not. When you're finished, you might just take a moment to kind of shake it out, loosen things up. Because you know we're going to do it on the other side just to see. We want to try to balance both sides of the body. And we're using opposite appendages. So this time I'm taking the other leg, and the opposite arm is going to go up in front of me. Might use the mudra. If my balance is not good today, hold on to the chair. Don't do the mudra on the head. For those of us who are feeling sort of balanced, if we're out of balance, we can always come out of it. We're going to exhale and watch that thumb. And when we're ready, inhale it back. Maybe one more time or not. We need to just come out of it completely. Ooh, yeah, sort of like me. Nice job. Excellent, excellent. You didn't see me sort of fall out of that. That was good. Y'all are learning. Don't ever watch the teacher or anybody else. And you could have a student who's been practicing for years and always does something what you think is spectacular, and then one day they've got too much on the brain, and all of a sudden the balance is off. So it goes. Let's work our way down to the floor in any way that feels best for you. If it doesn't feel good on the floor, you're welcome to stay in your chair. I'm going to ask if you want one of my mats, if you'd like to be on the floor, you're comfortable in the chair. Are you comfortable in the chair? Because I have two mats here. So we're going to kind of work our way down. For those in the chair, we're going to do the same thing, but you're going to just kind of move your legs out straight in front of you. You're sitting towards the end of the chair. You might have your hands underneath to hold so that you've opened up the chest, you pulled those shoulders back. For us on the floor, we're going to take our hands and kind of bring them, starfish hands if you can, behind those hips so that we're like a L that got turned upside down, flipped over backwards. Ooh, nice. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. So we want to think about that spine. We want to think about growing tall as if we were standing so that chin tucks back a little bit, growing tall from the head. Everything engaged. Lower abdomen engaged. Yes. Are you ready? Let's relax. Yes. Okay. So we're going to work our way down to the floor and find something that feels good. And I will share with you, or you can do whatever feels good right now. From the chair, we're going to bring those knees in towards our chest in a Apanasana, or wind relieving pose, a double. You're in a chair, you're going to probably end up doing, unless you scoot way back into the chair and you happen to be short and can get your heels up. Oh my gosh, awesome, still doing core work, yes. Make sure you're not breaking at the waist, bring them down. Talking about the chair people. Got an amazing student out there doing all this core work. She's just lifting her feet up. So we've been on our backs, and we might have shifted our weight from side to side. Our elbows are bent in close to the body. Maybe giving our hips a little massage, a nice little back massage, and a little break. From some of the standing postures, generally you have more use of that, especially at the lower back. And when you do core work, you tend to exaggerate that curve. So I just kind of want to counterpose it with a little. And also swing those knees, like straighten the arms in the middle and then bend them as you kind of roll to the side. So it's like you're making a happy face smile. Or you can put your hands on your kneecaps and draw a little circle and really kind of get into that tailbone. And when you're finished, I invite you to lower one foot then the other down to the ground. Knees are still bent. We're going to bring our arms out wide if we're on the mat. Knees are bent. We're going to widen those feet. And we'll take a comfortably deep inhale. If we've caught up with our breath, we might first notice, before we do that, let's notice our neck for those of us on the floor. We get exaggerated curves sometimes in the neck. So you can also just tuck that chin or just take a moment to kind of rock the head side to side. We'll take a comfortably deep breath. You feel like you've got some more length at the top of the neck. And as we exhale, we're going to drop the knees towards one side. As we inhale, it'll drop to the other side. We'll be done from the chair as well. I'm getting an extra workout today. This is kind of fun. So I may or may not do it this way. I might just hold on to the back of the chair, kind of rock my, let my head go the opposite way from my knees. Rock them. Again, a little more neck work from a chair. Moving with the breath. So as we rock to one side and knees go the opposite way, that's usually an exhale. Inhale to center and then exhale to the other side. Be mindful, maybe closing the eyes and really feeling it, really connecting that movement with the breath, developing that proprioception, that movement through space. our body space without vision. And if when dropping the knees over it's too far, just drop them less. Those of us with back issues, we may not want to go into a super deep twist with those knees. I'll do one more time, both sides or not. And then we'll find neutral with the head in the center and the knees in the center. For those of us on the floor, we're going to inhale the arms up. We're going to grab those opposite elbows. And we're going to switch it up just for our brain and for focus. As we exhale, the head's going to follow the knees. And this little picture frame is just going to kind of lean the opposite direction, not to where it hurts. And we inhale, head, knees, picture frame, arms, and exhale the other side. So a gentle twist, only going as far as you want. I find the wider the stance, the wider, farther apart my feet are, maybe the less, more control I have over the twist. You may find it easier the other way. If the back starts to hurt, just modify. Don't go as far over. Think of that lower back for those of us on the floor, and kind of some core engagement throughout. Even if we're inhaling, we're using that nice rib space. We're keeping our core engaged and trying to flatten that natural lumbar spine against the floor to protect our low back. So being mindful whether you're in a chair or not of that low back. Oops, went it wrong. Ha, I can't talk and do the same thing. Last one. We're going to go ahead and move those feet to where they're hip bone width apart, and then we're going to straighten those legs out for those of us on the floor. We're going to go ahead and place our hands alongside the body with the palms down to kind of protect that back. I'm going to take a nice inhale. When I exhale, I'm going to bring one knee into the chest in like a single wind relieving pose. So I've exhaled it in. I'm going to inhale it up and flex that foot and feel a stretch in my hamstring, and exhale with the core fully engaged all the way down and relax. Next inhale, I'll go to the other side. I inhale into that knee bend, exhale that knee in towards my chest. Inhale up, flex those toes, and exhale slowly down. Trying to keep that low back close to the mat so you don't overarch and use that leg weight to hurt the back. So we're going to be moving side to side. And of course, we can do it from a chair. Moving towards the front. Inhale, exhale in. Inhale out, exhale down. Inhale, exhale in. Inhale out, exhale slowly down. And then so exhale, inhale. Doing the same thing. Being real mindful of that spine. I noticed I was getting a little lax and loosey-goosey. I want to keep that sternum lifted. This is core work. And if the back is really hurting, just move further back. You can always rest your elbows against the back of the chair, and it kind of takes some of the core work out. Can't get the heel all the way down if you're short-legged like me. One more time, both sides. Good core strengthener. And when you're finished, I invite you to just kind of close your eyes and once more kind of check in with the body and get a feel for how you're doing right now, right this very moment. Maybe feeling that inhale and exhale through the nostrils. And with core work, we tend to accelerate the heart rate, we burn more calories, yay. So maybe coming back to that resting breath, taking the time to just rest for a moment and get back to that resting breath. Okay. I'm going to bend the knees once more. I'm going to do a little back magic from the floor. A little hard to translate in the chair. I'll do it in just a moment. I'll figure it out. Not a chair yoga teacher. We have a great chair yoga teacher, Casey Knudsen. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce your name. It works. The volunteers are time with Goodwood, and it's Mondays. She'll catch her sometime. But anyhow, we're just moving, inhaling, bringing one bent knee into the chest, the other arm overhead, or we can always modify and just bend at the elbow if the shoulders hurt. As we exhale, we're going to try to bring the hand and foot down to the mat at the same time. And we're going to withhold judgment whether that happens or not. You'll move to the other side and do the same thing. Now, normally when you bring a knee in, it's an exhale, but because we're extending the opposite arm overhead, we're using an inhale. And we can always play with the breath. Exhale, bring it down. Just slowly. The mat at the same time. Nice job from the chair. Moving at your own pace, I invite you to close your eyes and just kind of feel this happening. And you might notice, I've noticed, everybody's unique and perfect just as they are. You might notice it's easier to try to time the exhale with the core engaged and bring that hand and foot down to the mat. Hand will come down to the chair and the foot to the floor. So if you're in a chair, it's the same principle here. We're using our core strength to bring it down, really firmly engaged. Same if you're laying on the floor. Closing the eyes and just kind of sensing that timing. One more time, both sides. Last one. When you're finished, I want to invite you to roll over onto your side in a fetal position for those of us on the floor. We're going to place one hand on top of the other. This is just great for lengthening the breath. If you haven't been able to breathe deeply, consciously breathe deeply to this practice, this will help. We inhale and we let the head roll to watch that top thumb, soft eyes up and over. And as we exhale, we bring it back. If we have shoulder problems, we can put our hand alongside. That top hand can just be resting on the body. And we can inhale and still roll our head. And exhale, roll back. So moving at your own pace. A little harder to do from the chair. Try to figure this out. Good job. Extend back behind you. If the shoulders hurt, you can just simply do those teacup arms and just kind of move that head side to side. Move those shoulders. If you can get the arm out, gives you a little better stretch. Moving with the breath. For this one, we don't in the chair put our hands together. It's a hand on the lap. Last one. When you're finished, there's no rush. I invite you to roll over to the other side in fetal position, and we're going to be doing the same thing or not. It's always your choice. The shoulders hurt. Remember that you don't have to extend the arm out. You can just keep the hand either alongside the body and just turn the head. It can be more of a neck exercise. Or if it's okay, you might take those bent elbows and move an elbow back if you're in a chair, only if it doesn't hurt. Modify, modify, modify. Moving with the breath, closing the eyes. You're comfortable in letting the head roll. Wherever that hand is going or shoulders going, head rolls. We inhale back to center, exhale other side. Just feeling that, again, that body space, moving without a visual, really knowing your place, proprioception. And last one. Whenever you're finished, I invite you to find a comfortable Shavasana position. It can be on your back with the legs out long, further apart, toes flopped to the side, arms away from the body. And jiggle those shoulders and flatten the shoulder blades on the mat. If you're in a chair, you're going to want to go ahead and scoot back and just feel fully supported by the back of the chair so that you can truly let go. Anybody on the floor who's having a cranky back this morning can also bend your knees, feet a little wider towards the edge of the mat, and let the knees rest against each other so that you have no tension in your thighs. This is our time to let go, completely relax. Allowing our body to restore itself from earlier bodily openings through the practice, some deeper breath work. We just want to let go, let that resting breath naturally occur. No effort, nothing to do. We're getting rid of the human doing and we're becoming a human being, just tuning inward. It's called interoception. Bringing attention to the nostrils. Perhaps feeling that inhale and gentle, effortless exhale through the nostrils. Noticing maybe the difference in temperature. Very subtle. The inhale is cool. The exhale is warmer. Whether it comes through the nostrils or through a partly open mouth. Mouth is open. It might be a sigh. Or just let go. Feeling that inhale and exhale. Our mind wanders. We just simply return it. Focus to the breath. The effortless breath. We let go. And take some awareness down to the torso and maybe feel a very gentle rise from the chest and abdomen. Visualizing perhaps the resting breath is being perhaps on the Gulf without a lot of waves, and just that gentle rolling in of that foam and that effortless rolling out, a very gentle feel to the breath. Noticing perhaps the end of the exhale, the natural pause. It's just a place of pure peace, place of bliss. Maybe microscopic, it's always there if we look for it. And we tune our attention inward. We let go of the outer world. We might notice there's sound in the room. We might notice the inhale and the sound at the same time. No struggle. Just engaging two senses. Feel of the breath and any sound that may or may not be there. And we let go. As we relax deeper and deeper, you feel that spine just softening into the chair if you're sitting, or onto the floor if you're on the floor. And just begin to feel a heaviness in the arms or the legs. Like the weighted blankets they put out to help people relax these days. For those of us here at Goodwood, maybe hearing the sound of the roof, making gentle movements, maybe hearing Dennis being totally relaxed, or the music if you're at home, maybe just being aware, even if there isn't sound, of what that feels like. And still focusing on that breath. The inhale through the nose, the exhale through the nose or the mouth. The mouth is open. Ever so gently beginning to bring awareness back into the room. Feeling your body in whatever resting position you're in. For those on the floor, perhaps with their legs out, you might want to bend our knees. If you have a burning desire or something needs to stretch, welcome to do that. you're in a chair, I just invite you to remain rested in the chair. For those on the floor, whenever you're ready, rolling over to a fetal position. Knowing that this position in fetal, for those of us on the floor, is a position of transformation. For those of us on the chair, if our palms are on our thighs, maybe turning the palms up. Those on the floor, just resting quietly, thinking about what we'd like to add to our life. Those on the chair with the palms up, feel those, whatever it is you desire, feel that in your hands and breathe it into the body as if it's already occurred. And for those on the floor, same thing, thinking about what you want and really feeling it inhabit the body with the breath. I'm going to use these chimes 3 times, and you can begin to transfer from the floor. If you're in fetal position, if you're in a chair, just slowly begin to flutter the eyes open. And the third ring may be coming to a comfortable seated position. If you're on the floor, soft eyes. Let's all take one deep cleansing breath, breathing in what it is we want to add. And as we exhale through an open mouth, letting go of all tension, toxins, and things that no longer serve us, really letting go. Opening the mouth with a soft sigh, opening the eyes, perhaps joining the enclosure if you'd like, and extend my arms out in front of me and make the Anjali Mudra. It looks like prayer hands. Bring them to my heart space. And bid everyone a fond farewell. My virtual students, can't wait to see you in person one of these days. And all my people here present at Goodwood, thank you for joining my practice. Namaste. A wonderful weekend ahead.